The Isle of Man is a small island community that punches above its weight in the regulatory and financial sector. However, there is more to the island than the misconception that it is a tax haven. It is in fact a neutral tax jurisdiction with a strong regulatory infrastructure that the Isle of Man government is working closely with industry to promote. One particular sector that has reaped the benefits is that of space, where the strength of the island's business attributes have attracted some of the world's biggest operators to set up on the Isle of Man and carry out their orbital filing through the island jurisdiction. With an enviable international reputation, I talked to some of the people involved in this thriving space sector.
We've grown, 12 years in, 37 companies, 74 employed in the industry, about $2.65 billion of annual revenues going through the Isle of Man economy with space. Satellites, Isle of Man satellites providing broadband to 400 million people in North America, actually all around the world. For what started as an idea, we hope it's growing. We hope we're giving a good offering to the industry and we're meeting their needs and sort of helping at the same time.
If you want to set yourself up with a new business or new operations offshore or in an international financial centre, you've got to go to somewhere that's sophisticated and well regulated. And the Isle of Man is certainly both of those. But for well regulated, please don't confuse that with bureaucratic or burdensome. Despite having a sophisticated regulatory regime, we are open for business. We have this can-do attitude, the regulators, the government and the private sector. So it's easy to set up in the Isle of Man, it's easy to do business in the Isle of Man, all with the backing of a well-regulated jurisdiction, but not overly regulated.
We've really been actively involved in the space sector now going back to, 2001 really, when Mansat was first set up on the island, and government's been actively involved since 2006. So we are very much playing the long game. We're not expecting to achieve total success within a couple of years. We are committed for the long term. We are committed to growing the sector, and government is focused on achieving that.
There are many advantages of setting up in the Isle of Man. The first one that comes to mind for most people is the tax-neutral platform that the Isle of Man provides. This basically means that there is scope for many different international investors to come into a company and not to add an extra layer of tax that then only they have their own taxation to worry about rather than having an extra layer from the jurisdiction that you're based in. Thereafter, the Isle of Man already has an aerospace cluster set up, so we have lots of industries here that are connected to space that you can tap into, the high tech, the legal, the professional services. Also, there is the insurance premium tax, the fact that we don't have any insurance premium tax, which is a huge saving when you think of the size of the policies that the satellite companies have to spend on.
To have a world-leading space sector, the Isle of Man is up there in the sort of Premier League of space nations with an interest in space. So for a small nation like the Isle of Man to be up there is quite remarkable.
I think 50 years ago, the main industries on the Isle of Man were tourism, fishing and farming. If we'd had to rely on those, we'd be in quite a dire situation, I would imagine, nowadays. So we've already adapted very quickly. We've evolved in a very short period of time, to be honest, to actually be quite well placed as a country in its own right, with actually quite a varied and diverse economy.
I think you're right. I think the strength of the island is how adaptive we are. I think we've had a history of changing as the economy and industries have changed, and I think that is a strength. I think we're proactive. I think we spot opportunities and we work hard to take advantage of them.
Being a small jurisdiction, companies have easy access not just to the government but also the different sectors within space industry over here, so banking, financial, administrative services, legal and insurance.
Anything for the sort of the next 5 to 10 years, I just want it to be an automatic reaction in every boardroom, every CFO, CEO, general counsel, every entrepreneur starting a new company in the industry. and they just automatically think, I mean, I'd love it if they just automatically put the Isle of Man for their jurisdiction. Of course we're going to have a new venture here. Where are we putting it? Of course we put it in the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man's the first choice. But we've got to keep competing for that business. We can't rest on our laurels. We've got to constantly focus on that. I'd love that to be there. I'd love more jobs here. I think more jobs are coming. I'd love more jobs to be here. I'd love to grow that industry, to sort of see that work.
The Isle of Man and a thriving space sector. Is this true, I hear you ask? Quite simply, yes. After 2 days on the island and several interviews later, it is clear that the island is punching above its weight against its peers. Driving the thriving business sector is a small group of space experts involved in legal, financial, manufacturing and orbital filing applications. However, underpinning this is a forward-thinking government that is open to ideas and fast to respond, proactive rather than reactive. Yes, there are weaknesses such as the over-reliance on certain key personnel at government level and in Mansat. But this is changing as more and more space and satellite companies are drawn to the island. The establishment of the Isle of Man chapter of the SSPI should negate some of this issue through structured networking and international connections. But where does it go from here? More of the same, I would suggest.